Today I'll be showing you how to make beats that sound good, even if you're a beginner with limited resources. Every sound and effect I use will either be something included with FL Studio as a stock plugin, or it will be something available for free download somewhere on the internet. I'll leave links below to everything that I can. There's a common misconception that good beats are either expensive to make or super complicated. The truth is, producers nowadays have unprecedented access to a ton of free resources that can help them produce great sounding beats. And complex beats with crazy melodies or wild 808 patterns aren't always what artists are looking for. In all likelihood, the more complicated you try to make something, the more likely you are to mess it up. So keeping it simple is usually your best bet. Let's get into the cook-up. Okay, we're gonna get started off looking for a one-shot sample. Okay, I like this one. And the easiest thing to do is just to stick to all the white notes first. If we want to change the scale later, we can. And we'll just layer it with a lower octave note. Maybe some higher octave notes. And we want to have some sort of switch up at the end here, so maybe an extra note would be a good idea. And maybe some slide notes just to give it a bit more flavor. We have to change the envelope so that it stops bleeding over. Maybe not, maybe. There, that's better. Nice, I like that. So we'll copy and paste it over. And maybe we'll go down an octave. Try up. Here I'm looking for effects to add to the melody. Since it's only 4 bars in length, it's only half as long as I need it to be. I'm considering automating some effects at the end of the 8th bar instead of adding more switch-ups to the melody. This should still provide sufficient variation to keep the melody from sounding stale and repetitive, and it has the benefit of keeping things melodically simple. Now I'm creating our automation clip to trigger the effect at the end of the 8th bar. We'll automate this one as well. And copy and paste the automation curve. Here I'm adjusting the mix level of gross beat to lessen the amount of ducking that occurs from the gate effect. Now we'll detune the melody slightly. Now that we have a main melody that we're happy with, we can start messing around with the pitch and the BPM. slow it down a little bit. And it's always a good idea to cut the lows on everything except for like the bass and the kick. Now I'm looking for another one-shot to use for a counter melody. Again, we'll just keep things simple. Just trying to get this guitar one-shot in tune with the melody. Let's add a flute. And we'll use Flex to search for another flute sound. It's probably my favorite stock VST. I want to add some flute runs at the end of the melody. I'll be using a lot of really short notes here. It's just meant to act as sort of a flourish to the melody. And we'll copy and paste that over. Maybe change up the second one slightly and have it go upward instead of down. And pitch everything up an octave. At this point, I think the melody's pretty much completed. I just need to do a bit more processing before we add drums. And the first thing and most important thing probably to do is to route everything to a mixer channel and cut the lows so that we don't have a muddy mix when we lay down our 808. How much of the lows you cut is really up to you, but you don't want to cut so much that the sound starts losing its character. Okay, we're just going to start laying down some drums. And here we're just going to right click and hit number 2 on our keyboard to lay down hats on every 2 steps. And you don't want to overdo it with hat rolls because it's going to make the beat sound all over the place. 2 places that are really good to put hat rolls are right before a snare or clap hits and right after a clap hits. It's a good idea to pan your hats so that they're not right dead center. For the 808, I'm just choosing whichever note in the scale sounds best to me. And the 808 doesn't have to be super complicated either. It's better it be simple and to the point than like crazy and all over the place, because if it's all over the place, nobody's going to be able to rap over it. Just gonna switch the 808 sound. And make sure it's in tune. The easiest thing to do to add variation to the 808 is to just go to the 5th of whatever note we're using. It's pretty much guaranteed to sound good. So the 5th of the B scale is F sharp. Now we need to figure out what to do with the end notes. I'm just going to experiment with different variations for a minute, but I'm sticking to using F and B sharp, just changing the octaves. Here I'm going to add a 3rd step roll right before the rest of our notes play. Perfect. We'll just copy and paste all the 808 notes to the kick. And we'll use Alt-K to make it all hit on one note. I want the kick to hit around -3 dB, and I'm using the soft clipper to achieve that. At this point, the beat's pretty much finished. You could add some additional percussion elements and stuff like that, but that's really up to you. Now what we have to do is just split everything up, arrange it, and master it. There's no right or wrong way to arrange a beat. I decided to start the beat off with everything playing. This would likely be the chorus section of the beat. Then I take out some elements when the verse starts, and slowly add them back in on the way to the chorus. Okay, that's a good start. Now it's on to mastering. And for the mastering, I'm going to include all of the effects that I use in the description below. And we're going to go through this one by one. So the first thing that I have is just some saturation. And I use it to get that low end hitting harder. Then we have a mid-side EQ, and what I use this for is just to cut the side information on the lows so that the low end is mono. See, if I cut it all the way, it's a mono mix. Kind of bring that down. Somewhere around 100 hertz, maybe 90 to 100 should be good. And then I have this stereo imager just to widen up the highs a bit. I'm using this free loudness meter to make sure the mix is at the right volume. Anywhere between -14 to -10 should be a good range to have your stuff in. Perfect. I'm just going to export everything. Let's see what we've come up with.
Jay made the beat, so we mixing them perfect.